You're now listening to the Key Witness Media Podcast with Kurt Maggs. Kurt Maggs Radio.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Key Witness Media Podcast with your host, Kurt Maggs, in the building. Yep. Thanks to everyone who's been downloading the episodes, who's been actually listening to what I have to say on a weekly basis. I'm definitely loving and respecting the numbers that they increase by the moment. Definitely would love to be able to bring you more and better content, being able to speak to you on a personal level, help you grow as you learn from my experiences, and hopefully, share a laugh or two just to keep your spirits up. I know it's a rough time that we're living in. We're living in a time of the pandemic. We know that the COVID-19 is a very, very serious virus, and it's very contagious. Even though we have a vaccine, it seems as though the vaccine can also be an issue, and some have lost their lives. I just seen a couple of articles and a couple of videos that were talking about the passing of Hank Aaron last week, and that the fact that Hank Aaron just a week previously had taken the vaccine. And it's kind of strange that a week later that he passes away with really no one really saying much about him taking that vaccine. And he basically did that on TV in order to show other blacks that it's okay to take this vaccine, and it was totally safe. So you know what? I don't know what else to say. I'm just going to leave it alone, and we'll find out what happened at some point in some time. But I want to send my sincere condolences to the Cicely Tyson family who passed away today. She was a icon. She was definitely a great actress, definitely appreciated in her field. Some of the favorite movies that I liked that she was in was, first I'm going to say Roots, was her, and he had LeVar Burton, Leslie Uggams. It was so many people that played in that movie that it was so something that we had never seen before. But it was the road from Africa and how things were back then, which was written by Alex Haley, and definitely appreciate the works and the contributions that Cicely Tyson left us. So definitely appreciate her. Job well done. She was also married to Billy D. Williams and the great Miles Davis. Anybody, I'm going to admit, I wonder what was it like to be in the same house with Miles Davis on a daily. Because some of the stories of people that I knew him said he could be something else. A friend of mine said he was at a venue at one time, and he said that Miles Davis was there in the band Earth, Wind, and Fire. And he said that everyone's sitting around talking in a room, and they were talking about music and this and that. And Earth, Wind, and Fire had a keyboardist named Larry Dunn. Larry Dunn was the original keyboard player for Earth, Wind, and Fire. I think he played on the first couple of albums. And he's sharing a story with me, and he's telling me that Miles Davis came over there and he looked at them and said, asked them what their name, and it was Verdine White and Philip Bailey, and then was talking and was like, so Miles Davis just looked at him and was like, oh, okay, good to know you, good to meet you. And he actually said, young man, what is your name? He said, well, my name is Larry Dunn. He said, you the keyboard player, right? He was like, yeah. He said, you the one that makes Earth, Wind, Fire who they are. Without you, these guys are nothing. And my buddy was telling me the story. He said everybody's mouth kind of dropped. And Philip Bailey was like trying to interject with them. It was like, well, we're a band. Miles Davis just turned around and walked off. Never said nothing else. He just walked off as though Philip Bailey was not in the middle of a sentence and talking. So I'm pretty sure Cicely Tyson got to know who he was. But, you know, sometimes people have a persona and they may not be the persona that they put out as far as in private. So it might have been just a public thing in the way he handled things. So rest in peace to Cicely Tyson, and thank you. There's a couple of stories out there that I wanted to talk about. Here in the city of Indianapolis, we did have a situation where a young man, 17 years old, killed his whole family. It was a family of 6 people. One of the girls that were killed in this incident, she was carrying a baby, so that shows you how sad and tragic that was. And this was supposedly, the argument ensued, which they did have one survivor, which was a brother. He survived the incident, and that's how they were actually able to find out who did it. At first they were saying neighbors had seen someone leave out, but it was actually the surviving brother who told what happened. And they were able to apprehend this 17-year-old that killed them. And this was all because they got on him, the parents got on him about leaving out of the house the day before. So he decided to go get a shotgun and kill them all. It makes no sense. 17-year-old, his life is over. There's no coming back from that. You can't bring him back. They showed a picture of his face, and it doesn't look like a face of remorse. Didn't look like a face of sorrow. As far as I'm concerned, someone else may know him better and can see something, but the look in his eyes, you could tell something was wrong. I mean, we're living in a world now that some people don't want to be told anything. There was another case where a man who was a community activist and was well known for letting people know what was going on in the community and helping out the youth and doing whatever he can to assist people that were poor. And I guess he was canvassing the neighborhood, passing out flyers. And one of the houses he went to put a flyer on there that's explaining resources that they can do and how they can get, you know, assistance and everything because of thing that's going on with this pandemic. And the guy shot him because he thought it was somebody else coming to the door. All of that work gone. Sometimes it makes you wonder, hey, should I just mind my own business and just keep moving? As I believe it's the words of Tupac, it's not the white man I should fear, but it's my own kind doing the killing here. Wow. We can no longer blame everything on the actions of other people from other nationalities and colors and saying, well, it was the white community is holding us back, stopping us from being who we are, doing the things that we need to do. You can't always blame the system. That young man was being told the right thing to do and to obey the house. We all grew up with rules. Now, whether we follow them all who knows? I know that I was left rules and I didn't always follow them. But there's always consequences when you don't follow the rules. We're living in a day and age now that there's so many distractions. And there's so many things that are going on that are keeping people from interacting with people. With social media, people are trying to tear down the other people. Other people are showing off. Look what I got. See what I'm doing. Some people are happy for you. Some people are mad. And that's one reason why I don't like to broadcast everything. You got people who just name drop. I don't name drop. And I know quite a few people that are popular. Some would say that was popping. I talk to people on a normal basis. Some of the people that they know, you didn't even know they know until you find out later on. You'd be like, hey, I did not know that you were related, or you knew this person, or this was your son. I know somebody now whose son is very popular, and he never mentioned him. Very popular R&B singer. And it wasn't until later on that I noticed something sort of odd about it. I'm like, well, I was like, wait a minute. I heard the son mention who his parents were. And I'm like, I know your father. It's not about clout chasing or the glitz and the glamour, because a lot of times you got to be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it. And then when you find out it's not what you wanted, it's too late. And from one thing that I've learned from people who have been, quote unquote, use the word famous, they're always trying to chase that fame, because at some point you fizzle out and somebody new comes along. You don't want to become just a regular or normal person, or some people say you washed up. And I remember when you was popping and you try to say, hey, I got something new in the works. People like, we don't want to hear that. You washed up and you old, and you just, you really bring and sink people down to another level. And then they go into depression, in which that can lead into some type of, mental breakdown or suicide. I mean, what is really going on? Like I said, I've always told people about the story of the experiment they had with the shoebox, and they had the mice in the shoebox, and they would put the shoebox over heat. And before they would put them, over the heat, the mice would be playing around and dancing with each other in the box and just having a good old time and helping each other, doing whatever they can to entertain each other. But as soon as they put the heat over the box, on the one side of the box, all of them were fighting and climbing each other to get where the coolest part of that box was. It was no longer fun. It was no longer, hey, let's all get along and play with each other. Everybody was trying to survive. And this is to the black community. I'm not talking to anyone else outside of that. This is just for the black community. We really need we got a lot of work to do. We in this on our own. you literally have people, and we're just going to talk about work. People talk about their jobs and this and that, how people try to set them up and how they just try to do their work. And the people that give them the most hardest time is the other black co-workers. How they'll look out for other co-workers that are not of their color, but they'll put the hammer on them. And a lot of times you hear, that's my brother, that's my sister. And I'm going to tell you personally on my own, I always second guess my own color. I know what they're capable of. And don't get me wrong, you give everybody a benefit of a doubt, but usually that benefit of a doubt will make you a strong believer that, okay, nothing's changed. The black community has a history of selling each other out. Just go down the endless stories. Malcolm X, sketchiness with Martin Luther King, Black Panther Party, Fred Hampton and those guys. Things that were supposed to help and make us better and stick together and unite together have been some of the biggest letdowns and just disgraceful things ever. And somebody raised a point that's like, when did black people stop loving each other? What year? What decade? Robbing and killing and stealing your own. No, I didn't get on this microphone to try to preach or anything, because I've done some stuff that I didn't like later on. But you learn as the clock turns. I didn't do anything maliciously to go out and try to hurt somebody or do things that would cause them not to eat. Now, granted, all of these things are going on while we dealing with the pandemic. 17-year-old killing all the people in the house. The guy who's canvassing the neighborhoods, trying to help people to make it through this pandemic, just letting them know that, hey, here's some help. Here's phone numbers that you can call to get food and food banks and heat, fires, electrical, keep your electricity on during this pandemic, jobs, just resources that you may need in order to keep yourself afloat till it's over. And you got people who are sitting back maliciously trying to destroy one another. I don't get it. And you know what? I probably will never will. For all the ones who understand where I'm coming from, God bless you. For all the ones who don't, God bless you still. You hate to say that we're just doomed and we won't be satisfied until it's all over. I fought and sacrificed personally in order to become a better person, to become positive, to move forward. Decided to get myself an education that I could be a role model. Done a lot of positive things, and then I'm gonna get into it. I've done some negative things too, especially when I was younger. I was rebellious and did all that. So I'm not talking like I've been, oh, this guy's been on the straight and narrow his whole life and this and that. No, I know what it is to try to make it, try to survive. I remember a guy was telling me, and this is sort of comical, we was talking about being able to eat and being able to pay your bills and how to survive. And he made a comment and said, as long as I can hold my hand up and yell, stick 'em up, I'm always going to eat. And we kind of laughed because it was kind of funny the way he said it and things like that. But we got the point of what he was trying to say. And I'm not endorsing any of that. That was just a joke that he used that at that time. But we, as the black community, really need to go back and look at ourselves and our structures. And I'm pretty sure at some point I'm going to go deeper into all of this. We know that music have played a role in a lot of things. There is a lot of negative things out there that causes us to not be on the up and up because of our circumstances. But the question I pose tonight is, black people, when did we stop loving each other and looking out for each other? Somebody give me an answer. Peace and God bless.
You're now listening to the Key Witness Media Podcast with Kurt Maggs. Kurt Maggs Radio.